Hi there, great that you're watching this webinar on creating a structure in Apostle. My name is Stefan and I will be guiding you today through two of our main features that we have to create a proper structure in our system. The two features that we have are the groups and also the strategy part. And today I want to explain how to set them up and how to use them properly in our system. The main idea behind creating a structure is that you don't want everyone to share the exact same post on the exact same day on their own channels. The idea of creating groups is designed in a way that you can label certain people in your system based on a variety of information. So for example, in this overview, you can find the groups, by the way, in the left sidebar. In this example, you can see we have a development team, we have a marketing group, we have a customer success group, a sales group. And that means that we're filtering based on job title, for example, or background in this case. That means that you can label certain people. You can imagine that people from marketing would rather share blogs, white papers, those kind of content pieces. Whereas if you're working in development, you might want to talk about, okay, how did we create a certain feature? How was the technical a process of creating that exact feature? So it's really different content that you want to schedule for people. And the idea is that you want to really segment the post that you are creating because you don't want to share everything with everyone. And the creating groups is actually really easy. So you just click on add group and you give your group name. So you can basically filter on anything that you like, create your name, and then basically add the people to that specific group. Um, Common groups that we see are based on job titles or backgrounds, but also on in terms of location, for example. So we have a couple of people working from Amsterdam. We have a couple of people working from Eindhoven, for example. Let's say you have a vacancy post. It doesn't really make sense to share a vacancy for Amsterdam with the people who are working in Eindhoven, for example. So that would also be a way to segment your group and to make sure everyone is receiving the content that they like, because if they are not being suggested with relevant content, then the chance that they're actually going to share that content is also quite little. So it's really important to create the groups and also label the people and add them to the right groups. It does depend, by the way, on how big your team is, of course. The bigger your team, the better your segmentation needs to be. You can imagine if you have 100 people in your system that you don't want to share the exact same post with those 100 people. You really want to segment based on their background or job title or even location in this case. So as soon as you've set up your groups, then you can go to your create post overview. So I'm switching tabs here, and I'm now in the create post overview, and I've created my post already. And now I'm at the choosing channels step, so step two. And here you can see an overview of all of the people that are in my team, and you can also see the groups here. So the idea here is that you can easily filter based on specific groups. So let's say I have a post only which is only relevant for our marketing team. I can filter based on the marketing people, and then I get an overview of everyone who's active in marketing in this case. And then I would be able, for example, to do a select all or to even select certain people for whom the post is relevant. So that's one way to use it. You can also filter the groups based on different variants of your post. So let's say you created 4 or 5 different variants. You could even filter in these specific variants for specific groups. So it's a really easy way to segment your group of ambassadors and also make sure everyone is receiving the most relevant content that they can get. So that is basically the first feature that we have. So the groups I think is quite simple. It's just creating your group, adding the people, and then making sure everyone is receiving the right content at the right time, of course. The second feature that we have is a strategy, which is a little bit more comprehensive and is also really important. And the idea behind the strategy, and I'm switching tabs again and going to the strategy part, which is also in the left sidebar, by the way. You can open the strategy, and basically what you can do is you can create a mini content strategy in the system based on content themes and even subtopics. So we have main topics and subtopics in the system. And the idea is that, for example, we have thought leadership as our main topic, and we also want to talk there about our product, the science behind our product, and we have a couple of podcasts that we would like to share. So those are one of the main topics that we want to talk about. And then we have, for example, third-party content. We also have personal content, which is a little bit more on the employer branding side. So how's life at the Apostle office, for example. We have parties, new people joining our team. We have a main topic that says event, for example, and also business news. So just to give you an idea of which kind of topics you can create. And the great thing here is that you can also add a goal. So you can add to the system how many posts per topic or subtopic do you want to create each month. And the idea here is that as soon as we start creating our posts, we can label every post based on the topics that we have created in this view. So that means that the system will register how many posts did we create, for example, on product, and does that also match the post per month goal that we created here. I will show you later how you can see that in our Insights tab. So creating the strategy is also really easy. So you can just click add topic here, then create your topic, add your goal if you want to, even a color if you want to make it look pretty as well. And then choose a parent topic if you want to. You can also stick to main topics, of course, whichever you prefer, of course. So that's really how you set up your strategy. So it's really not that hard. It's really good idea to think with your team, okay, which topics do we want to communicate about, and then add them to the system along with the goal that you have in the team. So the ideas on how to use the strategy is then if you go back to create posts, also in the left sidebar, and then scroll down a little bit. So I'm skipping the post now for this video, but I'm skipping down to the topics. So let's say I create my post and I can label all of my posts based on the topics that we added in the system. So here you can see the subtopics that we created, which you saw in the strategy overview. So let's say I click product here, then the system will register if I schedule this post, okay, we created one post about product. So it's a really easy way to constantly be reminded of your topics and really label every post that you have created in the system. And in your insights, which I will show later on, you can see, okay, did we actually meet that goal? Or did we highlight the topic too much, for example, created 4 posts instead of 2? Or did we not even create a post about science or podcast at all? So it's a really great way to manage and maintain your content strategy in our Apostle system. So that's one way to use it. Another way to use it is a little bit more on the brand ambassador side, which means that as soon as your team starts uploading from the app or through our web version, so I will show the web version in this webinar. If you go to upload, then you will see an overview of the upload, of course, and your text field. But you can also add topics to your upload, and that's also something that your team can do. So let's say I uploaded a post, for example, here about new employee. Then it will also show in your inspiration wall, and your brand ambassadors can already choose, okay, I think it belongs to this and this topic. So this will also register in the system. So your system will also register, okay, how many inputs are you getting on the specific topics? And maybe some topic is really popular and you're getting a lot of input on specific topics, but you want more input on, for example, science. Then you can also ask your team, hey guys, can you also upload a little bit more about science or client day or acquisition, for example. So this is more on the brand ambassador side. So you can really ask your team to create posts for you based on the specific topics that you have created in the system. And it will also make sure that if they upload, that they can also already see, okay, this belongs to that topic. Oh, maybe my topic isn't in here. Maybe it's not a good upload, for example. So that's also a way to use it on the brand ambassador side. Then if we look at segmentation, so then I'm going back to the selection screen. So also I'm going to create post and then step 2. I'm going to switch off the group real quick. So what you can do based on the people that you have in your team, you can also subscribe them to specific topics, and they can also subscribe themselves to specific topics. So if they want to do it themselves, they can do it from the mobile app. They can go to the settings and then subscribe to the topics that they prefer. And then they will also be added in the system on the name of the brand ambassador in this case. And this is also something that you can do as an admin. So if I scroll back to the member overview, for example, I can just go to one of my colleagues. So let's say Guus, for example, and he is subscribed now to Science and Product. But let's say I also want to subscribe him to podcast, for example, then I can just add him here, me as an admin, add him to the podcast team or topic as well, and then click save, and then he will also be added to the podcast topic. So this synchronizes with the things your brand ambassador adds in the mobile app. So if he deletes the podcast from his mobile app, then of course it will also be deleted here. So this is a really great way to ask your team, okay, which kind of topics do you want to receive posts about, to make sure you are suggesting relevant content to your team. So if we then head back to the ambassador selection screen, you can see the topics here as well. If you cannot see the topics, then make sure to click the settings here and make sure it's switched on as well. But if you want to segment based on topic, you can also use the same filter for as we used for the groups earlier, and then click the filter. For example, go for at the office, and then I will see only the people that were subscribed to the team at the office. So this is a really great way to also segment based on your topic level. And you can even combine it with your groups. So let's say I only want the people from our development team who are subscribed to the at the office topic. Then I can just filter on development as well. Then I will only get the people who are in development and subscribe to the topic at your office. So this is a really great way to combine both the groups and the topics to make sure you are suggesting the most relevant content to your team. So this is a really perfect way to segment your content. Do make sure if you want to use the topics that you have added your brand ambassadors to the right topics, of course, or to make sure they have subscribed themselves through the mobile app. So this is really relevant because if you do not do that and you're going to filter on the topics and they're not added, of course, they won't show in your filter. So it's really important to make sure you set that up correctly. So those are really the more operational ways to both use the groups and the topics. So topics are on the upload side and on the share side and even on the member overview. The groups are only for you as an admin to create and to make sure everyone is in the exact same group. The final thing I want to show you is how you can use the insights to see how well you are performing on your topic level. So this is all about the strategy. So then you go to your Insights tab, and then you can scroll all the way down, and you have a General Statistics tab, and here you can see that your strategy is shown again, and also your post per month, so your goal. And here you can find how many posts, but also how many uploads were registered by the system. So if we look, for example, at our subtopic product, then we can see, okay, we created 2 posts and our goal was also 2 posts. This is based on a monthly level, right? So also make sure on the top level that your date selection is right and it's set to 1 month. So you can see for product, we did quite okay. So we created 2, we got 1 input, and we also, our goal was also 2. So that's perfect. However, if we look at podcasts, for example, you can see we created 2 posts about podcasts, but our goal was 1. So that means we over highlighted our podcast topic this month. So maybe we need to create a little bit more about something else, for example. Of course, these are now minor differences, but let's say you have 4 posts on product and your goal was 2, and you have 0 posts on science and 0 posts on podcast. That means that something is not right, and you need to change the way you are creating your content in the next month. So this is a really great way to also manage and maintain your strategy, see if you're reaching your goals, see if you're not overcompensating on a specific topic. And especially if some topics are at 0. So for example, you can see business news here is at 0. That means that you need to create posts, even if your goal is a little bit higher than that as well. So I'm hoping this was a clear overview on how to create a proper structure in our system. It's really important to use the groups. Use the groups to segment on a personal level, so job titles, locations, all that kind of information. Use the topics more on a content level. So which kind of content topics do you want to communicate about? Subscribe the right people to the right topic and use the filtering to your advantage while selecting your people. So filter on the groups and also filter on the topics in your system. I hope everything was clear. If you have any questions or if you need any help setting up your strategy or setting up the groups, please feel free to contact our support team. We're happy to help, of course, and if you need any assistance, then please contact us directly. I want to thank you for watching and feel free to contact me as well. Hopefully until the next time. Thank you.